10 p.m. Eastern. I am also the editor-in-chief of Right Voice Media. I'm also soon to be the managing editor of a fantastic website, and I'll have that announcement within the next week or so. I'm very excited about that. But joining me is Jeff. Jeff, tell us who you are and what you're about.
I'm about 250 pounds. Hi, folks. It's Jeff Dunetz from The Lid, from Truth Revolt, from the Jewish Star. And Tami,
yes,
I know we said we were going to do mostly listener participation today.
Yeah.
But before we start, there's something I got to get off my chest.
Go for it.
Okay. I think that as conservatives, we've been a little tough on Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
Look, this whole money thing and that, she was broke and all this kind of stuff. All she's really trying to do is make us understand that she's just like us.
She is.
And everything she's gone through, it's stuff we go through. Look, sure, she gets $100,000 every time she speaks before a crowd, but is that any big deal? Hey, when I was a kid, my sister's boyfriends would give me $5 to stop talking and get out of the house. and look, don't you think it was a hardship when she moved out of the White House and was dead broke and had to struggle to purchase 2 houses? Of course it was. I remember I once had to go into major debt just to build hotels on both Boardwalk and Park Place. Sure. Okay, it was monopoly, but I can relate. And maybe I never got $8 million for writing a book, but like once in high school, I got an A+ on an English paper. On the content, not the spelling. And my parents took me out for a congratulations milkshake. It's similar.
Nope. It's very similar.
And you know what? I pay taxes too. Look,
you do.
I don't have any money to create the kind of tax shelters that Bill and Hillary can, but I take some standard deductions and even some other legal deductions. Bill and Hillary pay taxes, and so do I. You see,
that's true.
You see, Hillary Clinton is just like us, and that's why I think we should vote for her. Forget the fact that she was not a standout Secretary of State, and she screwed up Benghazi and messed up relations with Russia and Britain and Israel, just name a few. In 2008, we voted for someone with no experience. Now in 2016, we can vote for someone with experience. Okay, it's a lousy record, but she had experience.
She has experience.
Yep, and look, she made lots of mistakes. That's another reason she's like us.
Yeah.
Don't you see, everybody makes mistakes. So I think that we need to be fair. Tami, after 2 terms of Barack Obama, we want to face another 8 years of arrogance and out-of-touch leadership by electing someone who's just like us, only more so. What do you think?
Well, Jeff, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm kidding you.
But I still could have been tone deaf. And, now I don't, and we've got a good life, and I'm grateful for it. But we go to our local grocery store on the weekend. We talk to people in our town. We know what's going on. The real issue is, if you've been fortunate enough to be successful, are you now out of touch and insensitive to the agonizing struggles other people are facing?
They go to the supermarket.
Absolutely. And now I want to invite people to call and let me know if you've ever been to the supermarket and, saw Bill and Hillary by the Grey Poupon, followed by, one of the Secret Service people with the thing in their ears and
with the
packing, yeah, whatever it's called, and packing some heat. Come on, Tami, don't you? Well,
I think wouldn't they be in the cigar section?
No, and you know what? The real reason Bill Clinton should have been impeached is what he did to that Cuban cigar, because those are really hard to get, and it was just so much of a waste.
Oh, my goodness. I can't even believe that he said we go to the supermarket. And the tough follow-up would have been, what do you usually buy? What are the prices or something? But Hillary was grinning at him the whole time. Just go, Bill, go. Did you see that?
Yeah, but, I just... Can you imagine the convoy going to the supermarket? He's got his Secret Service, her Secret Service, and Secret Service people are there all day. Can you imagine, one of the Secret Service guys crying in the cereal aisle? I want some Captain Crunch, please!
I just can't even imagine. I'm sorry, I can't imagine Hill and Bill really doing much of anything together. I imagine they did something together once upon a time because they have a daughter. But since then, Hillary's the power broker, he's the charm offensive, and he smooths his way through, event after event. But I am always amazed when I see them at the same venue.
Well, you're going to see them together a lot because, Bill's going to be her go-to guy, when it comes to the campaign. And, he didn't do so well last time. Remember what he made some comments in South Carolina that kind of turned around the black vote.
That's true. That's true. And Hillary keeps stepping all over it. I just don't think she has what it takes to make it. But, yeah, and in the chat room they're saying, yeah, those are just photo ops. You betcha. And I think that's absolutely right.
Absolutely. So you're going to see them together a lot because you know what? She is going to run. And here's a wacko prediction. I don't think she has any chance of being elected.
Really?
She has what it takes to make it. But, yeah, in the chat room they're saying, yeah, those are just photo ops. You betcha. And I think that's absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're back. We had a caller on the line, but the caller's gone. Is that right, John? Yes.
Okay.
The caller's gone. So we've got to figure out how to bring a caller on without putting us on hold. Something's going on there. Some strange wackiness. So is this the NSA telling us to quit talking about Hillary?
No. Not at all.
Okay, that was really strange. Because...
What?
Go ahead.
You know what? Because the NSA wouldn't bother us for talking about Hillary. Because as long as we don't talk about Barack, the president. I mean, he's the one. But she's not going to win, and I'll tell you why, Tami. She's just a lousy campaigner.
She is,
and you could tell more and more and more by her book tour that it's not going to work. So, yeah, I think she's going to run, but I don't think she's going to be successful.
Okay. Well, I hope, from your lips to God's ears. By the way, anybody listening, we will try again. Skype is not adding calls correctly. It's not helping us out. It is not our friend tonight, but try to call in 877-297-8022.
Your call has ended.
22.
Oh, boy. Whose call has ended?
We're still here, but somebody's call was ended.
Okay. Oops.
We've got to get this figured out for future because we need to be able to have people call in. Skype is messing with us.
Let's move on a little. Did you hear the big news today?
Well, I did, but, Jeff, what we ought to do is tell people the things we're going to be talking about over the whole hour, and then if we get this figured out, we'll actually take some calls. We are going to be, of course, talking about Hillary. If you want to call, we'll talk about Hillary. Oh, it looks like someone's on the line. Are you there?
Hello.
Who's on the line?
Let's see if you can recognize my voice, Tami. You do all the time. It's Major Bob.
Oh, Major Bob. I usually do. I was, just didn't hear enough at first. Yes. Thanks for calling. I'm so glad we were able to connect you properly.
Yeah, it's you have to keep trying, and I to bloviating Zeppelin, keep trying, because, once I hang up here, you can get in and just have to keep trying.
Well, that means Skype appreciates your service to this country.
Yes.
because it blew off BZ, but it let you on.
But BZ is served also, actually.
Oh. BZ is served, and I honor his service, too, as well. Yeah. Yes, it's my privilege and honor to serve. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't have a cough button here. Well, my point is that I volunteer to throw myself on this grenade. I volunteer to do the next Hillary speech when she has a stroke. And all I have to do is one. Just one. And then I retire instantly. I'll just retire instantly, and nobody will, ever hear from me again. $225,000.
Yeah,
take the money and run. Now that would do it. That would push me right over the edge.
Yeah, I tell you, I wouldn't have to speak very much because I don't need to have 2 multi-million-dollar houses. I just need a little place and some bills paid, and that's about it.
But the incredible thing. Yeah. Here's the incredible thing about the whole thing. If she just grabbed it by the horns and said, you know what? Yep, I'm rich. And my rags to riches is something that could only happen in this wonderful country. And because I'm so happy that this country gave me the opportunity, speaking as a liberal, I want to take the time to work to make other people come out of their poverty. If she said something like that, she'd sound like a regular liberal. But
yes, she would, and it would be a good message.
She's just too afraid to say, hey, I'm rich. Because I know that if I was rich, I'd be walking around say, hey, I'm rich. I probably wouldn't talk to any of you people, but no.
Well, they're busy trying to make the 4-unit entry fee. That is, a unit is $100 million, and nobody until you have at least 4 units. And they're trying very hard to do that, and the hypocrisy of it is just unbelievable because they're supposedly these liberal populists, but they're just a couple of you fill in the blanks.
So that's
anyway, but still in all.
That's for Unix,
actually
not for Unix.
I might be rich. But, Lois doesn't tell me how much money we have because she says it's on an as-needed basis, and I don't need to know.
You got the security clearance, but you don't have the need to know, right?
Right.
Yeah. He's got a great wife. She
absolutely.
Is a doll.
Well, one day she'll tell me where the checkbook is. I don't think
that's right. Well, I'm packing for Turtle Fest.
Oh, I wish I was going.
I'll be there early in the morning. And I wish you were too, and I hope to meet you someday there, Jeff. And I'll finally get to meet Tami in person and all the other Tribbles that I have not met so far. I've met a few. She is a joy.
Absolutely.
And she's a good friend.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm excited to meet you.
I'll get off the line, and I'm excited to meet you, and I'll get off the line. Let Zeppelin get in here and chat with you for a little while.
Thanks
all right, good night,
calling,
guys.
Bob. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Major Bob.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Hey, listen.
Your call has ended.
Mine too?
No, I think we're still here.
While we're talking, though, I think that we should mention the big news of the day.
Yes.
Which is that the gross domestic product for fourth quarter was revised from a 1% drop to a 2.9% drop.
Yep, huge.
And it's incredible. It's the biggest drop since since they call it the Great Recession.
Yeah.
So, and the most amazing part about it is that 2/3 of the drop was because people aren't spending money on health care. So, in fact, the reason for the big drop is Obamacare.
Well, that's true.
What makes it even more amazing, there's an audio I want to play you of Jay Carney talking about first quarter GDP. Hey, John, are you ready with that possible video of Jay Carney talking about?
Some economists saying this report is an early indication of the impact of Obamacare and higher taxes. Do you dispute that?
Well, I haven't seen those economists because the fact of the matter is, and the GDP report makes it clear, that it was consumer spending on health care that helped drive economic growth in the first quarter, and that is directly related to the increase in people who have insurance because of the Affordable Care Act. We also saw, and this has been misunderstood and therefore misreported, the fact that health care inflation, which is a separate animal from healthcare spending, healthcare inflation remained historically low. And what that means is that more people are buying a product or spending money on a product, but the cost of that product remains, that the increase in the cost of that product remains at an historically low level.
Oh, my goodness.
Think about this, Tami.
Yeah.
Okay. He was absolutely right. First quarter GDP, was driven by Obamacare. Of course, he thought that first quarter GDP would be driven upwards from Obamacare, and it kind of drove us the other way. But it just demonstrates another big Obama lie, which was that Obamacare would help the economy.
And we all knew that it would not help but hinder the economy. Everything we knew is coming true, even if Jay the Weasel Carney will not admit it. Hey, we need to take a break. You're listening to the Hump Day News Report. That's hashtag HDNR with Jeff Dunetz and Tami Jackson. We'll be right back.
You're on the 405.
Thank you for shopping Amazon.com. When you do, that makes you a sponsor of the 405 Media. Click on the Amazon banner on top of our homepage. Then shop. Simple. It costs you nothing. When you think Amazon, click one more time on the 405media.com, then on the Amazon banner. Thank you. Gang of 405 here on the 405 Radio.
Good morning, John. Morning, Scott.
Scott, what's going on in your life?
Do you really want to know?
You were never a nobody. Who are you trying to kid?
Oh, shut up.
They put these people in charge of organizations that have never been in charge of anything else as far as I can tell, and they perform abysmally.
Do you think that after everything that's happened, there's any way in hell that a single-payer system would be implemented while Barack Obama is still in office?
I'm going to take my surliness and go find those individual people that were just on that tape there and hunt them down this weekend just to solve it for you guys, okay?
Dr. Gruber sounds like the epitome of an elitist who's tucked away in his tenured position at a university far, far, far away from real life of real people.
The original and classic Gang of 405, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the 405media.com.
You're on the 405.
The Phil Nason Show is a daily, 1-hour program featuring hard-hitting commentary on a variety of topics. From the world of sports, entertainment, and pop culture, The Phil Nason Show covers it all. For music, entertainment, and more, please check us out at philnasons.com.
Here's Sports Talk on The Phil Nason Show, Monday through Friday, 11:40 a.m. Pacific, 2:40 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405media.com.
We are a bold and active voice for the unborn. We are Audio Girl Ministries, saving the lives of babies by helping moms in crisis pregnancies get past the crisis. How? Free ultrasound imaging so the woman can see the life she's carrying, and by supplying her with essential baby items, diapers, clothes, food, crib, car seat, all given with a loving and caring heart. Want to help? Log on to AudioGirlMinistries.com. Make a tax-deductible donation. AudioGirlMinistries.com. Thanks.
Hi, this is Dana Perino, and you're listening to the 405 Radio.
We're back on the Hump Day News Report with Jeff Dunetz and Tami Jackson. And we figured this whole system out. Skype cannot get the better of us. We've got a caller on the line, Michael Patrick Tracy, calling from Southern California. Michael, thank you for calling.
Well, you were begging for calls, so I figured I'd better call or I was going to feel guilty, so...
Yeah! A little guilt never hurt anybody, right, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely.
You know about that stuff. You're the Jew.
Yeah.
Well, because
let's ask the Jew about guilt.
Just remember one thing. The Catholics invented guilt. We just learned to market it better.
That's right. It's an art form.
So what's on your mind, Michael?
Well, I wanted to talk about, I'm really concerned about Hillary, because obviously she's, led a hardscrabble existence, and I don't think she's getting the proper respect. So I wanted to share a couple things that I tweeted on the Hillary is so poor hashtag.
Awesome.
That you may enjoy. Hillary is so poor she uses open office to maintain her enemies list. Hillary is so poor she stands on street corners with a sign that says, "We'll speak for food."
She's spoken a lot then, I think.
Yeah. And for some reason, Italian marble doesn't grow on trees, Tami. So you gotta feed the beast, feed the monkey.
Yeah.
Hillary is so poor she spent the advance money from her book on top ramen. That's really sad. Very sad.
I ate a lot of that in college.
Yes. She doesn't cook it herself. Her driver does that, but that's another story. Hillary is so poor that Chelsea had to take on an early morning paper route. Poor girl.
Yes, but
Hillary is so poor that Nancy Pelosi... Well, let me try that again. Hillary is so poor that Nancy Pelosi won't return her calls. That's not nice.
That's so
Michael,
not nice.
Chelsea did take on the paper route, but she just did it to see if she's interested in money.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. The whole interest in money thing seems to be inversely correlated with the amount of money that you actually have. It's funny how when you're like unemployed and hit hard times or have unexpected bills or something, how much you care about money at that particular moment. But when you have it, don't care. It's just amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to share the worst one because this is the real tragedy in the whole Hillary poverty thing. Hillary is so poor she had to force Bill to cancel his subscription to Biggins. Yeah, it's terrible.
That was awful.
So anyway,
I think Hooters has a newsletter he could sign up for.
Jeff, so you're not going to Tribble Fest?
I can't go. My son is out of town, and he comes back on Sunday, so I need to be here to pick him up from the airport and all that kind of good stuff.
Or else he doesn't get his allowance from Lois.
Oh, I get my allowance.
It would be wonderful.
You will be missed.
Yeah. Oh,
I will miss seeing you all.
Yeah,
yes.
You will.
But actually, I'm gonna watch it on
Ustream.
On Ustream.
Yes, it'll be fun.
Yeah. So, are we going to ambush you and get on air and take over the show? And
we usually don't take over the show, but it's a lot of fun. This will be your first time actually coming and attending some Tribble Fest. We hit Disneyland, and Dwayne gets on the ride right at, I believe, 8 a.m., and he'll be going until 5 or 6.
I know. You people who are showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning at Disneyland and going to spend all day or on crack. I'll show up at noon. Thank you very much. I know. You're going to be the man of leisure, but it's really fun. And since we're coming so far, doggone it, we're going to be there. And that's why I tell people wear comfortable shoes. Make sure you have some water and some sunscreen, because it is a fun day, but you would be amazed how tired you are at night when you finally lay down. It is crazy because it's usually pretty warm there at Disneyland, and so you're in the sun all day. You're either waiting for rides or on the ride, and we go on the rides with Dwayne quite a bit. What we'll do is we tell them we need to get on with Dwayne Patterson, that guy there. I don't know if the train allows
a person per car or if there's a few people per car or what it looks like. We'll know once we get there. But we usually ride with him quite a bit and talk to him throughout the day, and we hit other rides. And I'm going to ask everybody. And
I'm sure he really appreciates that.
Actually, he has fun with it. And at first, he was rolling his eyes and, Tami, and what are you doing? And after the first year, he decided it wasn't so bad, and he would go to dinner with us on Friday night. And now I think he even looks forward to it, although he would not admit it. But
you know what's changed? He's
that?
No longer dealing with a day full of It's a Small World.
That's true.
So even dealing with you all day would be an improvement over that.
That's true, because I don't sing that wretched song.
I do.
You do, but you won't be there. You see, one thing I am going to ask everyone to do, this will be the first year that Tribble Fest will be in Disneyland as opposed to Disney's California Adventure. And there's one thing in Disneyland I have not been to since I was 6 years old, and it was my favorite thing in the world. At age 6, I was too little to go on all the exciting rides, and I hated all the rides they wanted little girls to go on, teacups and such. I wanted speed and action. But
the auto, what was it? The auto, what is it called?
Cars ride or something?
You're talking about, do they have GM Test Track in Disneyland?
No, but they didn't have anything that me as a 6-year-old could go on. But one thing that I absolutely positively loved was the Tiki Room, I think it's called.
In the tiki room. Yes.
And all the birds sing, and John Hyatt's not there, but I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to try and get all the Tribbles to go with me to the Tiki Room, because I haven't been there since I was 6 years old with my grandma and grandpa and my uncle, and had a grand time, and that was the only thing that I thought was thrilling, since I couldn't go on thrilling rides.
Tami?
Well, if at all possible, in my own self-interest, if you can schedule that for between lunch and the show, that would be indoors, and that means I can keep out of the sun, and that's really good for me.
That's a good thing. Well, and we'll have to.
Tami,
yes.
Can I just you haven't been there in a couple of years. I've been there more recent. Let me tell you something. It's as exciting as It's a Small World or the World Cup.
The Tiki Room?
Yes.
I love the Tiki Room, though.
It's like watching television for 90 minutes for a 0-0 tie.
Oh, brother, I'm not into the World Cup.
Are there those flowing horns, though?
I don't know. I know that they call it football all across the world, but not in the United States. In the United States, they call it what a freaking waste of time.
Well, yeah, it's pretty boring to watch. I used to love to play it. I actually played in college and actually played a little semi-pro, believe it or not, you guys. But
isn't that a little personal?
That was in soccer.
Oh. Let me. If it doesn't involve tire changes, it's boring. Tire changes or the pitcher batting, it's a boring sport. So,
yeah, which, by the way, I've already got my drivers all lined up for Saturday's race. So
wait a second. So, LA, you agree with me that God didn't have the designated hitter in the Bible, so there should be none in baseball.
I absolutely agree, and frankly, I worry about the frankly, the people who are into the American League are communists. Let's put it that way. I'm not because
every time a designated hitter bats, the terrorists win.
That's right. Because it takes all the strategy out of the game. It's like, okay, let's have a home run contest. Let's just go straight to the All-Star game and skip the whole, 3 or 4 months before.
And it takes away all the pitchers who can hit. Bob Gibson used to hit over 300.
Oh, yeah. One of my 2 favorite pitchers. Him and
Tom Seaver used to hit in the high 290s.
Yeah. See, this is why I like NC2A sports. I'm a big baseball fan, but at the college level.
Well, go Beavs.
Well,
I tell you,
There you go.
Every time you say "Go Beavs," I think of the prostitutes in Fargo. No offense, I don't mean it that way.
In Fargo?
Prostitutes in the Coen Brothers movie Fargo, going "Go Bears."
I don't know about that. You got to ask Lilacs about Fargo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You guys. And by the way, everybody in the chat room says, well, if you guys don't like the tiki room, let's just go to the tiki bar.
When we'll all think about BZ and wave from afar.
I know.
All right.
So, thanks
I'll
for
let
calling.
you guys go. I've up enough of your time, but it was a pleasure chatting.
Oh, I'm glad you called. Thank you, Michael, and I'll see you on Friday.
I'll see you there.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Hey, time for another break, Jeff. I guess we'll...
Your call has ended.
And the call has ended, but but we got that caller on, by golly. We will be back. This is Tami Jackson with Jeff Dunetz on the Hump Day News Report.
You're on the 405.
Thank you for shopping Amazon.com. When you do, that makes you a sponsor of the 405 Media. Click on the Amazon banner on top of our homepage. Then shop. Simple. It costs you nothing. When you think Amazon, click one more time on the 405media.com, then on the Amazon banner. Thank you.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
The Friddle Show.
Gay marriage is not even legal in Arizona, so how is this cake discussion even relevant?
The Friddle Show with Crystal Heath.
I mean, this bill, I read it today. You can read it. It's 2 pages long.
The Friddle Show, live Tuesday and Wednesday nights, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
It's become acceptable to sleep around. Did you know that only 3% of Americans abstain from sex until they're married?
The Friddle Show, family-friendly, politically incorrect news commentary from a young Christian conservative perspective.
And if my disagreeing with a lifestyle due to my religious beliefs is now the same as hatred, then I apparently hate 97% of Americans.
Live original talk only on the 405media.com.
The president, he wasn't too far off base when he said that we're no longer a Christian nation because, quite frankly, we're not. The general populace does not have a biblical worldview.
You're on the 405.
Hey, it's John Grant from the 405media.com. We'd like to say we gave Bill Post his start doing a radio show on the internet. That would be partially true. We would like to congratulate Bill on the move to BillPost.com, where you can hear Bill and other great talk 24/7. No more AM, no more FM, just BillPost.com. And in your spare time, check out some great talk and a little nonsense at the 405media.com. Take it away, Bill Post.
CSC Talk Radio is proud to be a part of 405media.com.
Listen to Beth Ann and Common Sense Conversations Talk Radio, weeknights, 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern, here on the 405media.com. The 405 Media is on Blurt. Check out our homepage, the405media.com. Click on the Get Blurt banner, then install on your smartphone or tablet. Get audio alerts from the 405 Media on upcoming programs and events. Blurt and the 405media.com.
This is Katie Pavlich. You're listening to the 405 Radio.
You know, Tami, I first want to welcome everyone back, and I want to remind everybody something we did last week, which was the whole theme of our show was looking for those IRS emails. Remember that?
It was. I remember.
Okay. Well, I think we should kind of update what's going on with the IRS emails. Now, you know how Congressman Cummings has been complaining about the fact that we've been talking about the investigation and how can anybody be mean to the IRS, etc.
Yeah. How can anybody not be mean to the IRS is my reply.
I found something, actually, my friend Jeff Quinton, whose blog, The Quinton Report, he put this on. This is from 1999, when Cummings just happened to owe $30,000 in back taxes. And he wrote in the Baltimore Sun, all of us pay taxes. Many of us share in a paralyzing fear that we've made a mistake when we file our tax returns by the April deadline. We've all heard horror stories of the dreaded audit or the mistake made by the IRS and the years it took to fix it. So, I guess it's complaint time when it happens to him, but when it happens to a Republican, well, then it's a nasty thing.
Well, yes. Well, yes.
But I don't know if you were paying that much attention to the hearings yesterday.
I saw bits and pieces.
Well, a big part of it, and was, well, there's a new big question in the whole IRS investigation. And that question is, who is IT Bob dude? IT Ben dude. And this is how it came up. John, can you play that that audio of IT Ben? No?
John?
Before, Republicans in the House are pressing the Obama administration. What happened to the emails of the central figure in the IRS investigating, trying to crack down allegedly on the Tea Party? Well, last night they called up a White House lawyer who used to work at the IRS as a witness. I want you to listen here to this exchange. Congressman Jason Chaffetz, Republican of Utah, is trying to get the witness to name somebody at the agency who might know why those emails went poof.
Anybody in the IT arena?
I didn't actually interact directly with people in the IT arena. There was somebody whose name was, I can't even remember his last name. I think his first name may have been Ben.
So a guy named Ben, a dude named Ben. Who else?
I don't recall.
You were there 6 months. You had people around you that would jump at your very presence. Who are these people?
Nobody ever jumped at my very presence. I can assure you of that.
The contempt you hear from the Republican lawmakers and back from the IRS commissioner, John Costigan yesterday, now her. This is, I don't know that we're getting anywhere in the fact-finding realm, but there's a lot of contempt here.
And I don't know, politically speaking, if they need to get anywhere. I mean, this is like shooting Bambi. Is there anything easier than punching the IRS in the face every day to score political points? And then also with the email thing, I just think it doesn't pass the smell test for a lot of people. So you have Chaffetz there, who's a showman and likes the spotlight. I mean, this is a win for Republicans to keep hammering them.
Yeah, it's very much working for them. And you're right. I mean, how can you believe that the IRS, which makes ordinary folks keep 7 years of records, that somehow they have misplaced, destroyed these emails? It is very surprising.
I'm interested in hearing from Ben, the IT bro, now too.
Yeah. We've got a guy named Ben in our IT.
The committee will issue a subpoena for the dude, the dude Ben in IT. Peter Tia, thanks for coming in this morning. As we get back.
So, I would like to ask you folks listening, if any of you know this Ben dude, can you call in and let us know? I have a problem with my computer, like, I'll call cousins or friends, or actually, if my son's home, I ask him. But, I mean, who is this Ben dude?
IT Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But,
the interesting thing, Jeff, is that was CNN. So
that was John King. That was one of his associates from CNN, and the woman was someone from the Washington Post. So what's happening is that media is kind of turning on this story. Another one that happened earlier in the week was on Morning Joe, where everyone went wild. I mean, they said that if this was a Republican in office, this would be the #1 story.
Absolutely. Hey, Jeff, we've got a caller on. Are you there, caller?
Well, oddly enough, yes, I am.
BZ! It's our BZ! Woo! everybody cheer.
Cheering.
Cheering. Cheers.
Hey, I've got basically only one thing to talk about. It was the Supreme Court decision today on warrantless cell phone searches, and I'm not quite sure if anybody really addressed that today.
We haven't yet, but what's your thought?
My thought is this. I couldn't agree more with the Supreme Court because I'm a cop. It says, major ruling updates privacy laws for the 21st century. Supreme Court bans warrantless cell phone searches, updates privacy laws. Like I said, I absolutely could not agree more. They ruled Wednesday that the cops can't go snooping through people's cell phones without a warrant in an absolute unanimous decision that was
decision. Because a cell
big
phone
statement in favor of privacy rights.
Yeah. And, checking someone's cell phone isn't like, opening the trunk to see if somebody's got drugs. I mean, people have their entire lives.
Is not.
People have their entire lives, all their phone numbers, all their tweets, all on, their cell phone. And it should take a warrant.
Yep, absolutely.
The police agencies said that they were arguing that searching through the data on cell phones was no different than asking somebody to turn on their pockets, and I don't know how far you guys go, but that's the bullwood.
That's bunk. That's total bunk, BZ.
This is not only turning out their pockets, but opening up their checkbooks, giving them their phone lists. I mean, it's everything. But I don't want to make you scared or anything, BC. But while the cops
you don't make me scared. I could tell you things that would make you incredibly scared.
I'm sure.
Those making the argument on behalf of law enforcement that searching a cell phone is no more intrusive than turning out the pockets, they're daft and they're liars, and they are in contravention of the Fourth Amendment. I was originally a Republican. I am no longer a Republican. I am an independent. But I can tell you quite frankly that I take my Fourth Amendment quite seriously. That argument is crap. Cell phones, they're no longer just phones. They no longer just take calls.
Yep.
They now represent an entire person's life
in
the digital age. As you, Jeff, said, they have contacts lists, they have internet links, calendared events, assignments lists, apps, emails, providers.
A whole life is there on the cell phone. Yep.
Footprint that you can think of.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The cops can't check your phone, but the NSA still can.
Well, and this, I think, was a great win today, but it's only one of what needs to be a series of wins. The cell phones, they are a huge far cry. I don't know if you guys had one. I had one of the original brick phones that were used solely for convenient calls. Let me tell you, in 1991, when I was in warrants, I got one of those huge Motorola phones.
Oh.
And myself and my partner would call somebody up and say in a house when we had a felony warrant that we were going to serve, and there were only two of us serving that particular warrant, because that's how things went then. Mm-hmm. We'd say, hey, the cops are going to come to your front door, and we'd call into the house, and we'd think we were so clever, and they'd bail out the front, and we'd arrest them. That is just an incredible far cry from the way things are actually done today. Roberts said in his reasoning today, the fact that technology allows an individual to carry such information in his hand does not make the information any less worthy of protection for which the Founding Fathers fought. Our answer to the question of what police must do before searching a cell phone seized incident to an arrest is amazingly simple. Get a warrant.
Yeah,
I'm sufficiently old school. I worked detectives for many years. I worked every place in my current department that I possibly could. Sex assaults, child abuse, robbery, theft, warrants, and homicide. If I valued my information, my evidence, my statements, my chronology. I was forced to acquire a warrant as your affiant and I had to submit it to a lawful judge in my jurisdiction. Either my warrant had steam or it didn't. I should not be able to search your cell phone on a vehicle stop.
Yep.
I should not be able to search your phone on a domestic violence call. I should not be able to search your cell phone on a fight call. I should not be able to search your cell phone on a theft call. Not unless I can ascribe truly probative and evidentiary value to that and make a direct linkage between your cell phone and the crime that I allege you to have committed. Absent that, I should not be able to get into your cell phone. Period.
I agree 100%. Now, BC, I want to ask something. Now, you're on a police force now, but in your past, did you work for another governmental law agency?
I have worked for 4 agencies. Two were county. My current agency is a county, and 2 were federal.
So the FBI, perhaps?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, no, but you know your law. Hey, and I'll tell you guys, I didn't have a cell phone till almost 2000, and the reason I got a cell phone is I was driving to work. I was on I-5 at about 75 miles an hour very early in the morning, and some guy in some sleek, speedy car pulled up beside me in the lane, and he waved. And, you know, sometimes you wave when people wave at you before you realize, I don't even know that person. So I kind of waved, and I thought, wait, who is that? And then he started trying to say things to me, and of course I can't read lips, and so I didn't know what he was trying to say, and he would start making certain obscene gestures. And
Tami, I'm sorry. I told you I'm sorry.
I know, Jeff, but I don't believe you. But he almost tried to force me off the road, and it became almost pretty much a high-speed chase. By the time we hit my exit for my work, we were both doing about 85. And he followed me off the exit, and I took a turn on a different road, and he was in a lane where he couldn't turn because he was trying to get right beside my car. And then I made sure he wasn't following me, and I went ahead and drove around a peripheral road to work. Had he been following me, I knew where the police station was ahead, and I was going to drive straight there. But when I got to work, I called the police, and they talked to me, and I knew the make and model of his car. I didn't know the full license plate, but I knew a lot of it. And they said, get yourself a cell phone. That is the one thing women need to have. It'll be great if you have a concealed carry, but you also need to have a cell phone. So that very day, I bought myself a cell phone.
Yeah, I got my first one at the same time, and it's only because this is when I was working at Nickelodeon, and on the way home I would talk to my outside offices to L.A., etc., because I drove in and out of the city every day. So it kind of saved me work time. But, it was only till recently that I, got an iPhone that does something other than calling.
I can tell you quite frankly that I am not an advocate of cell phones. I am an advocate of privacy. I was a Republican, now I'm a conservative. I am a registered independent, and I am a libertarian generally absent 2 areas where libertarians and I greatly depart. One is drugs, the other is the border. However, being a libertarian, I am a complete believer in the Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution. I'm an oath keeper. I disseminate oathkeeper.org material to the people that I supervise. And I am not looked upon by my department with great favor. My department is a 2,500-person department. That's a relatively large department in California. That said, I do my very level best to make sure that my libertarian views are given to all the trainees that come unto my purvey. That's the best that I can do. I'm 63 years old. I'm going to retire next year. I'll be 64 next year. I've spent 41 years in law enforcement. The biggest thing that I can do is try to hand down my thought to those persons that are coming up and try to corrupt the view of those persons, those trainees who are coming up under me into patrol and other venues. These are different people. These are different times. I used to think that perhaps the people in law enforcement would actually have a regard, a consideration for the U.S. Constitution. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you think that the cops are going to save you, that the military is going to save you when push comes to shove, particularly considering this current generation, I would submit in kind to you, you may be whistling past the graveyard. I am not yet convinced. That's a terrible thing to say. I'm sorry that I have to even think that way, but I can tell you that I am doing my very level best to corrupt those people that come under my purview.
Yep.
I'm not fired. I'm still working on this department because I know where all the skeletons are buried. I'm only a sergeant in this department. And I can tell you quite frankly this. If you think I have an accent, there's a reason that I have an accent. It's because I cannot speak frankly about my department, and I cannot speak frankly because people listen and they read my blog, and I have already had one blog completely eliminated by my department. So if you think I'm Australian, yes, I am in one regard, but on the other hand, I have a very, very easy way to speak. And my speaking is very clear. And I've been doing my very level best to make sure that the cops that I produce on my department are those that would be the people that will set the pace for the future, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure.
That said, I have to go where I go, and I have to do what I do within my limited capacity. But I have never, ever seen or faced a challenge in my 63 years as this country is facing now. And I'm sorry, I apologize if I've hijacked your show or perhaps taken it directions that you didn't particularly want to go at this point.
Did you have a warrant to hijack our show?
Damn, you need to, perhaps like Hugh says, I need to hang up on myself.
We love you, BC. I'm so glad that you called and got through.
All right, this is me hanging up on myself.
Thank you.
Goodbye, BZ. I'm only sorry that he can't make it to Tribblefest, because Tribblefest is going to be a fabulous event.
I'm sorry I can't make it.
I'm glad. I'm sorry you can't make it.
No, come on. You really wanted to say you're glad.
No, that was a slip.
Hey, listen. One quick story before we go.
Okay.
Like many people in New York, I was born in Brooklyn. Here's a story about Brooklyn.
Okay.
The dean of the business school of Brooklyn College was offered a $10 million grant, no strings, no politics, from the Koch brothers.
Yep.
And he said no. He said no because he didn't like their politics. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how awful that is to the school, to the city? That is, to me, the ultimate in Koch brothers derangement syndrome. But I just wanted to say that because if the message gets out, I want to get the message to the Koch brothers that if they really want to get rid of $10 million, Tami and I will split it.
We will.
Yeah, we'll even give John like $50.
We would take it in a heartbeat. And you know what I think? I think the dean of the Brooklyn College must have attended one of these house parties that I was invited to over the weekend. It says, you're invited, movie party in Woodburn. That's about 15 minutes away from where I live. America has a Koch problem. We're getting together to watch Koch Brothers Exposed 2014 edition. This acclaimed new release pulls back the curtain on Charles and David Koch, yanking them out of the shadows, exposing them for what they are, a self-interested, ultra-conservative demolition crew hell-bent on crushing the Affordable Care Act, Social Security, the Environmental Protection Agency, and so much more. Will you join us? I have not yet RSVP'd to that little house party, Jeff, because quite frankly...
It's Saturday, you said?
It is, and I'm going to be at Tribble
I think I have some root canal I'd prefer to go to.
Well, yeah. And plus, you know what? I like Charles and David. I like that they stand for Americans for Prosperity. And you notice in all these things they talk about, they fund AFP. Okay, tell the people what AFP is. All right already? AFP, Americans for Prosperity. Americans that want to get the economy going, that want the average Joe in this country to prosper. I can't imagine that even some dumb Dems somewhere in Detroit would not agree to that.
By the way, did you know that I'm related to the Koch brothers?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Why don't they give you the money then?
I'm trying to convince them like I'm a distant relative that could use a couple of million.
Yeah, when people have money, every relative in the family tree seems to pop out, don't they?
Well, Lawrence O'Donnell, earlier this week, when he came back from his car accident, actually did a monologue about the Koch brothers and how wonderful they were, because he did his rehabilitation. Well, he had his surgery and his rehabilitation at the Hospital for Special Surgery. And Hospital for Special Surgery gets a lot of money from the Koch brothers. They happen to be very generous people in terms of medicine and education. And he did this it was amazing. He did this whole thing about how wonderful the Koch brothers are.
Well, and they are. They are good for America, unlike Soros, who's on the other end with all his millions and millions and millions funding socialist causes. The Koch brothers.
Wait a second. He funds Media Matters for America, and they're important. I mean, as a blogger, they give me a lot of material.
I know. Hey, Jeff, we need to start wrapping up. Next week, we're going to have Andrew Malcolm, aren't we? Yep. But before we have him on, and we're getting this ironed out, I think we may have Ann Scott Tyson and Major Jim Gant, who I had on a month ago on my show, and my podcast with them has gone viral. They're going to be on Nightline and some other shows. Some amazing stuff is going on, so we're going to have them on for a little bit at the beginning of the show, and then the rest of the show with Andrew Malcolm.
And here's a little homework, folks. Tami's going to put the link to that podcast on the bottom of today's show post. So after you listen to the podcast of this show, go listen to that interview so you're all prepared for next week.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for listening to the Hump Day News Report. Follow us. Listen to us next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be talking to you, right, Jeff?
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, folks.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Julie. Julie. Guess what day it is? Julie. Julie. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Anybody? Anybody? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Anybody? Anybody? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Woo-hoo! Mike. What day is it, Mike? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Leslie, guess what today is? Leslie, guess what today is? Leslie, guess what today is? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day! Uh-oh. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Uh-oh. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
DJ.